What's up, guys? After traversing the seemingly barren wasteland that is the Atlas world map, I finally accomplished the unthinkable. Somehow I've managed to unveil not just one, but all three of the Citadels for the Pinnacle keys, to face off against what's-his-name. In order to bring some closure to an outstanding yet very open-ended early access experience. Now, when I say closure, I'm not implying it's the end for me, but rather my monk might have to hang up his staff in order to delve into another class and try something new. I was able to complete all three bosses leading to the Arbiter with ease, although I used blank tier 15s like a little bitch, and in my defense I went in blind. With the rarity of keys available on my Atlas, I went in under the assumption this was going to be brutal, but since it took so long to find all the pieces, my toon was way overtuned and tore through the dungeons and the bosses they contained, to the point that they didn't really feel like big bad Pinnacle bosses. Standard map bosses are a bit scarier in comparison, but that includes juicing the maps and Atlas passives, something I wasn't willing to do on a set of keys that essentially took 200 hours to find. I want to say right now, I know it's early access, and that's a large reason I haven't been crying about some of the glaring issues this game has, but the boss situation I think is the saddest for me. I much rather have a Pinnacle content that is easier to access but harder to complete, so players can observe the mechanics that the developers have put into the fights. Because bosses are one of the strongest pros of the campaign as a whole. Regardless of the lore and story, the act bosses are highlights of the campaign, in and out of combat. This is basically missing from the endgame for me. Sure, you can fight bosses. Early on it feels like a lot of Russian roulette, where either the player or the boss gets one shot. But as you solve your defenses, it becomes a pretty one-sided affair, where the player dominates without much real thought or adjustment to gameplay. This is okay for now, and I trust GGG is already hard at work trying to flesh out the endgame further, instead of just padding it with the mindless grinding and the forever sea of map nodes. I can't sit here and tell you I'm not enjoying the Atlas, but there is some problems. The first of which is meaningful boss encounters. The second, maybe just as important, please fix the map itself. It is the only thing in the entire game thus far I would consider scrapping and starting over. The map is horrendous. It could be fixed, but it definitely needs cleaned up. Just to go back to where you found and left a Citadel or juice zone is rather inconvenient. Regardless, I do like the way the Atlas works as a system. Getting started on one league can be a bit overwhelming, like if you want to do Breach or Delirium or any of those mechanics. The grind in GGG is showing up in full force at the endgame, let me tell you. With prices falling, if you're just entering endgame, do yourself a favor on Trade League, just buy yourself a Breach Stone. This will save you considerable time when starting to map with breaches. Anyway, I've rambled on quite long enough. I just wanted to share a few thoughts and hopefully spark some kind of conversation in the comments. The gist of it is I finally found the stinking Citadels to run the boss, and that's strangely a relief. I feel more open to starting a new character or perhaps returning to the warrior and see if there's any saving that build. Anything is possible with enough divines, I suppose. In any case, have fun and stay safe, my friends.